It was a Saturday afternoon, and I was tending to the hostas in my garden as usual. June in Boston was already embracing the warmth of early summer. I took small sips of cold lemonade from Whole Foods while pulling weeds. Since losing my husband George to a heart attack 3 years ago, this gardening had become my solace. "Ellen, those hydrangeas are stunning," Mrs. Jones called out from across the white picket fence. We'd been good neighbors for over 30 years in this upscale Newton neighborhood, sharing weekend barbecues and Thanksgiving dinners. "Thank you. The colors are much better than last year, aren't they? Maybe it's thanks to the soil George left behind." I stood up and gave a little wave. Even at 63, I'm still working as a human resources manager at Stop and Shop. With over 30 years of experience, I've earned the trust of my staff, and work is fulfilling. But more than anything, my greatest joy was spending weekends with my adorable grandson, Lucas. Every Saturday, he would stay overnight at my house. On Sunday mornings, we would make pancakes together, drowning them in maple syrup, our precious ritual. Until that day. The changes began in mid-May. Lucas, who used to look forward to our weekend walks around Crystal Lake, suddenly became withdrawn. He started refusing outdoor activities and repeatedly said he wanted to live at Grandma's house. He had been such a bright boy, excelling at math in preschool and full of intellectual curiosity. Despite it being June, he insisted on wearing long sleeves and began refusing our weekend sleepovers. My daughter Amy is 34. Before her marriage, we were close, often spending weekends shopping at the mall and chatting for hours over coffee at Starbucks. Now she was buying expensive designer bags one after another, saying, "The salon is doing great. Chanel, Gucci." Though her nail salon, Shine and Glow, was in a prime location near Newton Center Station, I'd heard rumors about declining customer numbers. There were even whispers about unpaid staff wages. Amy's husband Michael is 36. He suddenly quit his job as an accountant at a large corporation after 8 years and now works as a temp. It was an uncharacteristic decision for such a meticulous and polite man. He used to be so family-oriented, always taking Lucas to the park on weekends, but lately, that too had stopped. He looked exhausted, and the couple seemed to be talking less. One day, when I discovered bruises on Lucas's arms, my heart froze. "He fell down the stairs," Amy explained, but Lucas's eyes trembled with fear. When I tried to take him to Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, Amy strongly refused. The weekly visits suddenly started getting canceled. 2 staff members quit the salon, and business hours became irregular. Amy explained it as business improvement and talked enthusiastically about new equipment investments, but there was something hollow in her words. We hadn't seen Amy's family at our church community near Boston College lately either. Weekend family dinners had decreased, and phone calls with me had become less frequent. Something was wrong. My daughter's flashy clothes and my son-in-law's exhausted expression. My grandson's frightened eyes. I couldn't yet pinpoint what that something was. That Saturday, the day that would forever change my life, our family's life, was approaching quietly but surely. Saturday, June 10th. That day too, I was absorbed in my gardening. The scent of newly planted lavender wafted on the early summer breeze. The sky was crystal clear blue. It should have been the perfect start to a weekend. The first thing I heard was a faint sound. From the direction of the garage. I thought it was probably a stray cat. We'd been seeing a lot of ginger strays in the neighborhood lately. Mrs. Jones had apparently been feeding them. But the next sound I heard was clearly human. Coming from the trunk of my Lexus RX 350. That's strange. I took off my gardening gloves and headed toward the garage. I was sure I'd taken out all the shopping bags I'd loaded in the trunk yesterday. As I got closer, the sound became more distinct. Like quiet sobbing. And then, a familiar voice. Grandma. My hands trembled. I took out my car keys and tried to open the trunk. In front of my eyes, clouded with heat and fear, I failed 3 times before managing to press the button. With a click, the trunk opened. Lucas. I was screaming. My 5-year-old grandson was curled up shaking in the narrow trunk. Even in the dim light, the bruises were painfully visible. On his face, arms, and legs. His long-sleeved t-shirt was soaked with sweat, and his pants showed clear signs of having wet himself. Grandma, help me. That whisper tore at my heart. It's okay, Lucas. You're safe now. When I lifted him up, his body was burning hot. He must have spent hours in the trunk. He had to be dehydrated. I immediately carried him inside. I laid him on the sofa in the air-conditioned living room, wiping his body with cool towels. I helped him drink water slowly. Amy, answer the phone. My daughter's cell phone went to voicemail. I called Michael's number too, but there was no response. Finally, amid my mixing anxiety and anger, a call came through. Mom. I'm busy right now. Amy's voice. And in the background, familiar sounds. The electronic chimes of slot machines, excited shouts, the clinking of coins. Amy, where's Lucas? Huh? He's at home. Sleeping. An obvious lie. And her voice was slurred with alcohol. I'm on a winning streak. Already up 50,000. I could hear Michael's voice in the background. Amy, let's go home. Don't interfere. Through the phone, I could hear the couple arguing. Then suddenly, the call cut off. With trembling hands, I checked the number again. Area code 702. Las Vegas. The next moment, Lucas started coughing. His fever was rising. There was no time for hesitation. I considered calling an ambulance but decided driving would be faster. Lucas, we're going to the hospital. Okay. He gave a small nod. When I lifted him, I could feel his tiny body trembling. From fear, fever, or both. The drive to Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center. What normally took 15 minutes felt like an eternity that day. At every red light, I checked on Lucas in the rearview mirror. Cold sweat on his forehead. We're almost there, hang in there. As I spoke these words, I gripped the steering wheel with something like a prayer. And in my heart, I kept asking. Why did this happen? What was happening to my precious family? At Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center's pediatric emergency room, Dr. Thompson examined each of Lucas's bruises one by one. A nurse quietly took photographs. Evidence photos. Mrs. Baker, let me explain your grandson's condition. In the examination room, Dr. Thompson showed a grave expression. Multiple contusions. Some new, some over a week old. His nutritional state is poor. He also shows clear signs of dehydration. This is The doctor chose his words carefully before continuing. A clear case of abuse. By law, we are obligated to report this. Those words made the reality definitive. We've already contacted Child Protective Services and the Boston Police. Your grandson will be safe here until the officers arrive. Shortly after, Detective Sarah Martinez arrived. The Hispanic female detective approached Lucas with a gentle yet professional manner. "Hey, Lucas. Don't be scared. You've done nothing wrong." At first, Lucas remained silent. But as he hugged the teddy bear Detective Martinez had brought, he slowly began to talk. "Mom said there was no money. Dad's salary wasn't enough. So," he continued with a trembling voice, "she said they could make money in Las Vegas. But Dad didn't want to. Then Mom got angry. Just then, we heard commotion in the hallway. That's my child. Where is he?" Amy's voice. The smell of alcohol wafted into the room. "Ma'am, please calm down." The voice of hospital security trying to restrain her. Then Michael's tired voice. "Amy, stop it." Detective Martinez stood up and left the room. I held Lucas tight. His small body was trembling. "It's okay. Grandma will protect you." The argument in the hallway continued for a while. Eventually, Amy's screaming voice faded away. Security must have taken her away. That night, a long discussion with Detective Martinez began. Security camera footage, statements from neighbors, and Lucas's testimony. Everything pointed to a horrifying truth. The next morning, a reporter from the Boston Globe appeared at the hospital. Headlines like, "Child abuse discovered in upscale neighborhood," would surely be published soon. But even more shocking facts were about to come to light. The documents Michael submitted to the police. Papers showing the financial state of Amy's nail salon. They revealed an unimaginable amount of debt. $1.5 million. Customer deposits had been misappropriated. Unpaid wages had accumulated. And it all led to one pathological addiction. Gambling addiction. My daughter had locked her son in a car trunk and gambled away large sums in Las Vegas casinos. How long would it take me to accept this reality? But now, I had to be strong for Lucas, sleeping peacefully before me. Outside, ambulance sirens wailed, as if announcing the start of a new day. In Detective Martinez's office, Michael began to tell everything. Beneath his exhausted expression, the truth slowly leaked out. It all started last September. At the time, Amy's nail salon, Shine and Glow, seemed to be doing well. Prime location near Newton Center Station. Growing Instagram followers, steady new customers. But that was just the surface. Sales had gradually declined with new competition. Staff turnover increased. Amy kept making expensive equipment investments to keep up appearances, was denied bank loans, and turned to loan sharks. It started with $50,000. We thought we could pay it back. But trapped in a cycle of high-interest payments, they fell into a new debt cycle. Amy became increasingly absorbed in online gambling. One big win and we can pay it all back. That temptation consumed her. Irregularities were discovered in the company's accounting department. Michael had misappropriated company funds to cover Amy's debts. After discovery, he was fired. Lost his position as an accountant of 8 years. But Amy didn't change. Rather, things only got worse. Salon revenues disappeared into online casinos the same day. Customer prepayments, staff salaries. The debt snowballed to $1.5 million. The Las Vegas trip. Michael's voice caught in his throat. Actually, it was for a job interview as a casino dealer. A stable income of $80,000 per year. A desperate plan to rebuild their lives. But Amy followed me without permission. While Michael was in his interview, Amy lost big at the casino. Then came threatening calls from loan sharks. Cornered, she began abusing Lucas. My precious son. Michael covered his face. His shoulders shook. Just then, Detective Martinez's phone rang. She answered, responding briefly several times. Then she looked at us. Amy has started confessing. Security cameras had captured everything. Early Saturday morning, Amy put the sleeping Lucas in her car and drove to my house. After confirming I had started gardening, she put Lucas in her trunk and transferred him to mine. He was in the way, so I thought I'd have you watch him for a while. Amy's words during interrogation. Even drunk, those words from a mother left the police officers speechless. The investigation revealed even more horrifying facts. Amy had begun facilitating illegal prostitution at the salon to fund her gambling. Multiple young women had been victimized. The loan sharks were connected to organized crime. Michael's testimony continued. Amy had tried to offer Lucas's custody as collateral for new loans. There was even the possibility of human trafficking. Detective Martinez quietly announced while organizing papers on her desk. This is no longer just a child abuse case. It could develop into an organized crime investigation. The FBI will be joining the investigation. Outside the window, camera flashes from reporters were flashing. The tragic incident in Boston's upscale neighborhood had instantly become national news. I thought of Lucas sleeping peacefully in the hospital. How could such a heavy fate have fallen on that small body? Ma'am. Michael took my hand. My son. Lucas, please. Even if temporarily. I nodded firmly at those words. Right now, protecting Lucas was the priority. We had to heal his emotional wounds, even if slowly. Detective Martinez smiled gently. Lucas is fortunate to have such a wonderful grandmother. Outside, dusk was approaching. I contemplated our new life beginning tomorrow. I couldn't forgive my daughter yet. But I had to be strong for my grandson's future. The Massachusetts summer twilight was unusually beautiful. 6 months later, in December. A small Christmas tree sparkled in my living room. The scent of cinnamon I'd bought yesterday from Whole Foods added a warm atmosphere to the room. Grandma, I think this star should be higher up. Lucas pointed to the star at the top of the tree. His voice no longer held that day's fear. 3 weekly therapy sessions with the child psychologist at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center and a stable life had gradually begun healing his heart. You're right. We'll ask Dad when he gets home. How about some hot chocolate before then? While making the warm drink in the kitchen, I reflected on how much had changed since that day. Michael now works at the Bellagio in Las Vegas. Recognized for his dealing skills, he's even been assigned to train new hires. His diligent work ethic has already earned him a promotion. He video calls his son every weekend and returns to Boston once a month. He was granted a 10-day Christmas vacation. The debt repayment plan is steadily progressing with consultation from a sharp lawyer at Boston Legal. The loan shark debts were invalidated by the FBI investigation. The illegal loan contracts were deemed legally unenforceable. Compensation for salon customers was arranged through insurance and asset sales. Dad's plane today. Yes, he said he'll arrive by 6. Did you finish your homework? Lucas nodded with a beaming smile. His grades at Newton Elementary School had improved, and he'd made new friends. He's particularly excelling in math, ranking among the top in his grade. His teacher, Mrs. Brown, praised his remarkable resilience and intellectual curiosity. 6 months after the incident that made the front page of the Boston Globe, Amy is participating in a rehabilitation program at the Massachusetts State Addiction Treatment Center. She received a 7-year prison sentence for child abuse and embezzlement, but with good behavior, parole might be possible in 4 years. I still don't want to see Mom, Lucas said softly while drinking his hot chocolate. Understandable. It will take much more time for his emotional wounds to heal. His therapist Jennifer also advises, don't rush, go at his pace. But during recent therapy, Lucas showed tears for the first time when discussing his mother. Not tears of anger or fear, but sadness. Why did Mom change? That question squeezed my heart too. But perhaps it's also the beginning of healing. Near Newton Center Station, where the salon used to be, there's now a small cafe. It's popular, with lines of commuters forming each morning. The neighbors go about their daily lives as if nothing happened. But in these 6 months, our family has changed dramatically. The federal court criminal trial revealed the full extent of the loan shark organization. From Boston to Las Vegas, there were over 200 cases of victims. Illegal high interest rates, threats, violence. Amy was one of those victims too. Falling into gambling addiction, trapped by loan sharks, and eventually endangering her own child. Victim and perpetrator. As a mother, I still can't sort out the complex feelings in my heart. Grandma, it's snowing. Outside the window, Boston's first snow had begun to fall. White crystals quietly covering the earth. Crystal Lake would soon freeze over and become a skating rink. This year, you can go skating with Dad. Lucas's eyes sparkled. Just then, the doorbell rang. It's Dad. Lucas ran to the door. Michael entered with a big smile. In his suit, he had completely shed his former exhausted expression. Seeing father and son embrace, tears welled up in my eyes. I'm home, Mom. And Merry Christmas. Michael held out a large paper bag. Inside were chocolates from a famous Las Vegas chocolatier. Welcome home. Having you back is the best gift of all. I smiled. People make mistakes. But they can also repent and recover. Perhaps there's no such thing as a perfect family. Still, we keep moving forward. The snow continued falling quietly. The streetlights reflecting on Crystal Lake cast a dreamlike glow. When we get through this winter, spring will come again. By then, surely new flowers will bloom in my garden. And in our lives too, a new season will arrive.